Good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. I'm Reverend Therese, and today I'm coming to you from Unity Spiritual Center, Hilton Head. It is Sunday, October 6th. No, it's not. Today is Sunday, September 6th. It's Labor Day. Oh my gosh. I don't need to push the year any fast. Well, maybe we want to push the year faster. So let me start again. I'm Reverend Therese, Unity Spiritual Center, Hilton Head, Sunday, September 6th. And it's Labor Day. And today, though, we are going to celebrate a rest that we take together, you and I, in this now moment. So let's close our outer eyes as we're comfortable. And we breathe into this moment. And I affirm that each of us is a living expression of God, each of us divine, each of us holding a higher view, and we affirm a satisfying resolution as each of us focuses on the activity of God that emanates out from within us. And we know that peace is established right here, right now. And I affirm this truth for each and every one of us. And so it is, and so we let it be. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's September 6th. I've said it now 3 times, and I misquoted it once. Thank you for signing in our comment box, and let us know where you're from. And if you have a prayer request, please go ahead and write in your email address or your prayer request, and I will get back to you. Today, this weekend, is Labor Day weekend, and I had to look it up to remind myself, what is it that we're celebrating? Why are we having a day off tomorrow? And besides the fact that tomorrow is the last day you can wear white, I'm not sure how the fashion industry got involved in Labor Day, but however, Labor Day is the last day that you can wear white, just in case you wanted to know. And it's also the official end of summer. Well, not down here in South Carolina, y'all. You can come and visit, and you too can have Lion King hair. Yes. This is an hour's worth of work on my hair. It's also a big weekend for shopping. Okay. I know some schools are already in. Some of my grandchildren start school tomorrow, or I guess it would be Tuesday, right? And the day is Labor Day. And it's honored for all who just need a rest. So consider yourself one of those people. It has been a year of COVID. It is time, if you take no other time this year, then take tomorrow as a day of rest and honor yourself. It was, I think also, when it was established back in the 1800s, there wasn't COVID. So I think we can also say this is a day that we might honor all of our essential workers. Yes? Some of whom may not have been considered essential workers back in the day, but they are today. So thank you, everyone who makes this world possible. I also want to give a shout out to Hargrave and the electronics that allow this moment to happen for each of us. We are grateful. This week also is Unity's World Day of Prayer. And events open on Wednesday night and all day Thursday at unity.org, or you can just put in your browser World Day of Prayer 2020 and it should get you to the Unity website. We are in our 5th part of our series on spiritual tool belts. And tools from a standpoint of how is it that we use what the Bible tells us Jesus said, the scholars that wrote the Bible, right? what they said about how it is that we live in today's world, because that's what the Bible is always about, taking it and applying it to today, to yourself, to your life. So that's why whatever I'm talking about today, you take what works for you and leave the rest, right? So Jesus in unity is our elder brother, our way shower, and one of the many prophets and people that we look to, and the many paths that we honor here to the one God. Now everybody breathe, and I'm sure I'll receive a comment or two about that. We believe in one God, the very presence, the very power that is each of us in this world. And we also believe there are many paths to the God of your understanding. So in unity, we don't tell you what to think, we ask you to think. And then I'm going to ask you again today to think about what it is that you're thinking about and then question it. And Albert Einstein called it living in the holy question. It makes it much more fun. Spirituality is fun. It's about having God consciousness, having a relationship with God, and going to spirit first before we decide to make a decision. And so it could be just called God consciousness. And are you coming from that? Because God is working in, through, and as each and every single one of us. We've been exploring how it is we can use our tool belt to manage what might look like chaos outside of us in this world of COVID and whatever else is happening out there, right? However, if we come from spirit first and we have a spiritual perspective, then what's going to be projected out from us, of course, is a way of responding rather than reacting. Because anything that's happening outside of us is a reflection of what's happening inside of us. Everybody breathe, and why don't we take a moment and hydrate? Because what are we doing? Hydrating. We're staying prayed up, and we're staying masked up. Pretty please. So the tools we're talking about enhance us being God expressing in the world. And they give us a sense that we might not always have. I'm not sure if any of you ever act as if, yeah? And I faith it till I make it, F-A-I-T-H. And the tools help us do this. They give us strength. They empower us to be all that we've come here to be. And they allow us to have God consciousness as our first thoughts. A Course of Miracles says that if we do not hear the voice of God, it's because we are not choosing to listen. Are you listening? Scripture tells us that as we choose to, we can have ears that actually listen. Listen and silent are the same letters in a different order. Think about that. To date, we have 12 tools in our tool belt. Today, we're going to talk about 13, 14, and 15. And our belt will be complete. However, next week, we will talk about how we use it in the world. And then I want to see your picture of your tool belt, and I will have one for you to see of mine. 3 tools today, number 13, number 14, number 15. Number 13 is abide in me as I abide in you. And that's from the book of John, chapter 15, verse 4. Tool number 14, where 2 or more are gathered in my name, I am there. I like to call that a prayer meeting. That's what we're having right now. And that's from Matthew, chapter 18, verse 20. And tool number 15. Where does it profit a person to gain the whole world if they lose their soul. And that's from Mark chapter 8, verse 36. Again, if you want to know what all the other tools are, I'm going to tell you. However, if you want to hear about them, go back on Facebook and listen to the other 4 talks, or go to www.unity.org. No. Go to www.unityofhiltonhead.org, and we have them on our YouTube channel there. Okay? They're not on the Unity Worldwide website, I promise you. Not yet. So our tool number 13, abide in me as I abide in you. Once again, in this statement, Jesus is referring to oneness. The oneness that is one within the individual of God, that's you and me, and one about the fact that we are all of one consciousness of God. And it's also about the choices that we make consciously about coming to terms with the realization of oneness. No matter the appearances outside of us, no matter what's showing up on the news, we are one. So let's take a look at the second part of the statement first. As I abide in you. This refers to what we talk about every week. The presence of the Christ nature in, through, and as each of us. And the Christ nature is one of love. Love is God, yes? So don't get hung up on words. If they bother you, understand what they mean. Christ consciousness is consciousness of God, consciousness of love that already resides in you and in me. It's the pure essence of wholeness that is you. It's the pure essence of creativity, abundance, and peace that is already you. It is the perfect presence and essence of love. That is you and that is me. That is what Christ nature is. And the Bible tells us that Jesus said that the Christ nature abides in you and in me because it's already here and there in us right now. We don't need to do anything to get it, to learn it, to be it. It is. And why, you might ask? I don't ask that very often. I'm always asking what. But why is it already here? Because we are children of God, born in the image and after the likeness. So the I abide in you is the second part of this first statement that I'm talking about as our tool number 13. The first part says, abide in me. Abide in me. Who doesn't like to be bossed around? All of us middle children, right? This is an affirmation, not a commandment. It's abide in me. And this is a conscious choice that each of us has. And it helps us recognize our own truth so we can act from it. So basically, the statement that says, number 13, our tool number 13, abide in me as I abide in you, says, look, all y'all, you are already divine. So get with it and start acting that way. Can't you see Jesus talking to us if he were here right now in that language? Well, I know all y'all is from the South, which I'm learning how to be a Southern girl. All y'all, you're already divine. So get with it and start acting this way. Start realizing that your truth is truth with a capital T, always and in all ways. And start each day from this vantage point. Instead of looking as yourself as limited. Instead of looking at yourself as small. Those are not truths. The 13th tool in our tool belt, can you tell I'm so excited to be with you all? Gets us to a point where we get to remember to act the whole and holy way of us as spiritual beings, making our choices from the fact that we are divine. All y'all, you're already divine. Number 14, tool. For where there are two or more gathered in my name, I am there. And like I said, I call this a prayer meeting. I have them on the beach when there's two birds with me. I have it when I'm walking and there's two other people walking on the path with me, even though they may not be part of my walk per se. But wherever two or more consciousnesses exist, so there is God. It's about our intention, isn't it? Intention and attention equals manifestation, and that's the great I am, which is you and which is me. What we know to be true is that when we are together, and right now we're together over the internet, aren't we? Our energy merges with another, and we are spiritual beings creating great power that emanates out over the ethers and touches each other. No matter what the tradition is of celebrating the God of your understanding, we are one, is what our 13th tool told us yet. So we get to get it. We get to get that as it is, we are always in the presence of God. And we get to let our tool, number 12, engage us as we let our light shine, always and in all ways. As we let our light shine, we unconsciously give every single person we come in contact to, let their light shine. As each of us is liberated from our own fear, we allow others to be liberated from their fear. And that's the whole premise of this week's World Day of Prayer. The power of being together right here and right now is the power of creating spiritual community, sharing with each other in our comment boxes and also over the ethers the presence and the power that is each of us. Everybody breathe. Breathe into this truth. Breathe into this strength and this knowing. We are a living unity. And you also have the opportunity to be in community when you receive our prayer chaplain call from our prayer ambassadors. Each week when they call you on the phone with a prayer that they're praying with and for you. This creates a living unity of Hilton Head spiritual community, and we are grateful. So let me give an extra shout out to all of our prayer ambassadors who take the time to make the phone calls. Thank you. We are grateful. And our tool number 15 in our spiritual tool belt. What does it profit a person to gain the whole world if they lose their soul? And I can see your eyes going, what are you talking about, Reverend Therese? Well, these are the words that Jesus used to help us remember as a reminder to stay on the path, to remember what is true. And what is true is what is inside of me, what is inside of you. And all the accoutrements of the world just are. Right? They can change in a moment. God is unchangeable. God in you, God in me, unchangeable, present always. This tool also helps us remember why we're here. And I believe there are two reasons. One is common for all of us, and then one is unique to each of us. The common reason is for each of us to remember to keep returning to our spiritual truth. To remember that what we are is a child of God, who we are is a child of God, and that God abides in, through, and as each of us. Again, nothing to do to receive the blessing and the reminder that God is in, through, and as each of us. That's why we're here. That's why we are present in this moment, why each of us are sharing this great spiritual journey together. God abides in each of us, so we don't get so caught up in the world of form, as Fillmore calls it, the world outside of us, the material world. We get to remember the most important thing, that we are here as the very expression of God, living as God consciousness. And the second reason is that you have unique gifts, I have unique gifts, and we are here to express them, each of us as a unique, unrepeatable expression of God. Say that with me. I am a unique, unrepeatable expression of God. You've heard me say that before. You've said it before. Keep saying it to yourself. Put it on your refrigerator. Make a banner. And then share that with others so they remember the truth of who they are. Unique, unrepeatable expressions of God. Let us breathe together and let's have another hydration break. We get to stay hydrated, prayed up, washed up, and masked up. And we get to be God expressing in the world. We've said this before. How you show up is a reflection of how you choose to express God. And it's always about you and never about anyone else. And that seems kind of tough in this world today, doesn't it? Because someone might be on your last nerve. It's all right. Sit back, lower your shoulders, let the tongue come off the roof of your mouth, and breathe. And breathe. The tool belt with the 15 tool allows us to know that with God, there is a way. We get to use our spiritual tools when we don't see a way. In the book, Eye of the Storm, Reverend Dr. Gary Simmons asks us, are you the way of God or are you in the way of God? I hope that's your takeaway from today. Being the way of God, not in the way of God. And the Bible tells us also that Jesus said, do not judge by appearances, right? Problems get to be solved through God in and as us. So we get to look within instead of at the problem. We get to look within instead of at the diagnosis. We get to look within instead of worrying about the next job. We breathe into this knowing that we need to be changing the level of our consciousness because problems have to be solved at a higher level, at a higher frequency, at a more God-filled consciousness level than they were created. Right? And so we breathe. we breathe into knowing that this spiritual tool belt allows us to get closer to the God consciousness that lives in, through, and as each of us. And that allows us then how to respond. Without our tools, we may react. I know when I react, it's not pretty. It is not pretty. And so every day I get to work with my tool belt as well. Each of us, no matter what our job is in the physical world. We are here to remind ourselves and to be the example that God abides in and through and as us. And as we know this, the best is yet to be. Yes, it's truth. As we believe it, as we know it, as we expect it to be so, then we will have eyes to see it. Because believing is seeing. As a kid, I learned seeing is believing. Believing is seeing it is so. And then get ourselves out of the way so we can allow God through us to make it manifest. We get to see it as so because we believe it as so. And why? Because God is, you are, I am. This is how we make it through the day. This is how we make it as a walk into tomorrow. One step at a time, with our tool belts on a rock solid foundation of faith in all that we have come here to be, uniquely unrepeatable expressions of God. And we allow God to express in, through, and as us. So let me review our 15 tools. The kingdom of heaven is within. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Be in the world and not of it. Ask and you shall receive. Forgive those who trespass against you. As you sow, so shall you reap. Resist not evil. In God's house, there are many mansions. There are many opportunities, if you remember the Aramaic interpretation of that word. You must be born of above, meaning we have got to come from our God consciousness. Do not worry about tomorrow. Stay present. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. And then today, abide in me as I abide in you. Where there are 2 or 3 or more gathered, there I am. And what does it profit a person to gain the whole world if they lose their soul? So these tools allow us to be the best expression of God. They are in our e-news. I will put them in. I'm going to put the scriptures reference to them as well, just in case you want to have a little bit wider breadth of context. So if you need to get our e-news, write me an email at office@unityofhiltonhead.org or type it into the comment box. So let's take a moment. Close your outer eyes as you're comfortable and allow a smile to form to your face. If it helps to put a hand on your heart, go ahead and do that. And we breathe into this moment knowing that heart math tells us that it is impossible to hold a grudge and be happy at the same time. So we let go of the grudges and we be happy in this moment. Each time we get to gratitude, a smile forms on our face. feel how good it feels. Grateful for you being here in this now moment. And we direct all of our thoughts in this moment to our God consciousness. We call forth the God consciousness within each of us, and we breathe into this moment. We are together here, you and I, centered with our attention on the God of our being, the God that lives in, through, and as each of us, expressing and manifesting as you in this world, blessing every single person you meet, every single face you see on a Zoom call, every being you pray with, even in the silence. And I want you to know today, right here, right now, you matter. You matter to Unity Spiritual Center of Hilton Head. You matter to me and the ministries that I serve. Because as we minister to one, we minister to many. Yes? You are loved, and you bless us. And we are grateful for you. We are grateful for you. You abide in God. God abides in you. We lift our consciousness above all that is limiting, and we allow our minds in this now moment to dwell in possibility. We believe it is so, and so it is. Amen. Bring your attention back to this time and this space. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for knowing that you are a blessing in the world. Next week, we're going to look at a practical way of using our tool belts. Again, if you need to have our email that comes out weekly, let us know. Thursday is World Day of Prayer. Wednesday night is opening ceremonies at unity.org, or you can also put in your browser World Day of Prayer 2020. The prayer for this week is, let me read it to you. Focused on the light, you look with kindness upon all fears and worries, for they urge you to harness your great power of faith. Standing in truth, you move from fear to faith. Amen. Thank you for contributing to Unity Spiritual Center with your practices of generosity through our snail mail at P.O. Box 1392, Bluffton, South Carolina, and also on our website, www.unityofhiltonhead.org, where you can use PayPal or your credit card. You keep us active in this community. You keep us active in the world, blessing all who want to walk the way Jesus walked. And so it is, and so we let it be. This is Reverend Therese. I'm blessing you. I'm blessing myself with your presence. And so it is. Have a great day and a great week. Stay prayed up, washed up, hydrated, and masked as you are so comfortable. Thank you for blessing us, and so it is. I am. Amen.